Hey guys, we are going to talk about section 10.7 today, circles and the length of their segments. So what we have are three different examples of types of problems that you're going to see today. The first type of problem that we have are when we have two chords that intersect inside of the circle. So I'm going to label this two chords. So when we have two chords, the chords break each chord into two pieces. So we have A and B on the first chord, and we have D and C on the second chord. In order to solve a problem like this, we have to take A and multiply it times B. So we do A times B, and then we will set it equal to D times C. So what I want to do right now is I want to do some example problems that are just like it below. So what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier is, first of all, if we just look real quick at 1 and 2, those problems look exactly like this problem where we have two chords that intersect. So in this first box, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shade this whole box yellow. All right, so if you have something to highlight so that you can match up the problems to the ones that they correspond to, that'd be great. If not, I already put like a circle here for these two. You could put like a circle here in this problem to know that these two match up with this. So numbers 1 and 2, I'm going to color yellow, and we'll know that this is the type of problem we have to look at. Okay. So let's take a look. If I follow the formula here, I have to do A times B and set it equal to D times C. So if we look, we want to do 3 times X and set it equal to 6 times 4. So 3 times X is 3X. 6 times 4 is 24. Divide by 3. X equals 8. That's our answer for X. Let's take a look here at number 2. Now it doesn't matter which chord you start with, it just matters that you match up the corresponding parts on the same chord. All right, so I'm going to start with 8 and X. So I'm going to do 8 times X equals 9 times 12. 8 times X is 8X. 9 times 12 happens to be 108. Divide by 8. You're going to get a fraction. So when you reduce that, we want 27 over 2. Notice I'm leaving it in fraction form. All right, using my calculators, I'm going to write a little note, no decimals. All right, fraction form. Okay, so let's take a look at the second example here. What we have here is a picture of a tangent. It's a line outside of the circle that just touches it once, and a secant. Remember, a secant goes through the circle and touches it twice. So this is an example of a tangent and a secant. Okay, so now the way that we do these problems, notice that there's only one part of the tangent, okay? Notice here when we multiplied these two, there's nothing to multiply it with down here. So we're going to multiply it by itself. So C times C gives us C squared. So whatever value is here, we just want to square it. And we set it equal to, now we set it equal to the outside piece, A, times the total length, which is A plus B. So we want to do the outside piece times A plus B. So let's take a look at an example. So the one that's an example of a tangent and a secant are 3 and 4. So I'm going to put a square in here because I've squared 3 and 4. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my orange All right, lightly highlight that. And then I'm going to highlight 3 and 4 to know that they match up with the orange one up here. Okay, so let's take a look here for number 3. So we know that we have a tangent and we have a secant. So with our tangent, we want to square it. So whatever's here, I'm going to do the work right above it. X, and we square it. And we equal it to this piece, the outside piece, 8 times these two pieces added together. Well, 8 plus 12 gives us 20. So I want to multiply it by 20. So x squared, x squared equals 160. We can't know what, we don't want to know what x squared is, so we take the square root. Now, if we do that in our calculator, the square root of 160, we get a decimal, and we don't want a decimal. So remember, we have to simplify the square roots. So we want to find the biggest perfect square that goes into 160. So we want to try 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. We want to find the biggest one that goes into 160. Turns out that it's the square root of 16 and the square root of 10. All right, we've done this before. The square root of 16 is 4, and bring down the root 10. 4 root 10 is your answer for x. All right, let's take a look at number 4. All right, I'm going to do the work right over here. So this is a tangent and a secant, so we want to take the tangent and we want to square it. So we have 12 squared equals, take the outside piece, which is x, and multiply it by these two added together. Well, when we take 2x and x, we get 3x. So we have 12 squared equals x times 3x. So 12 squared is 144, and x times 3x is 3x squared. So let's take a look at what we have here. We want to get x by itself. So we want to get rid of this 3. So we are going to divide by 3, divide by 3. So when we do 144 divided by 3 in our calculator, we get 48 equals x squared. So like up here, we have to take the square root. Take the square root of both sides. We're left with x equals, and if we do the square root of 48 in our calculator, we would get a decimal. So we want to make sure that we simplify using our square roots. Check out 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Turns out that the biggest square root that goes into 48 is 16 and 3. So the square root of 16 is 4, and then we have the square root of 3. That is what x equals. All right, we're going to skip number 5. Let's take a look at our last example. In this example here, this is a secant. So in this picture here, we have 2 secants. Okay, so just like we did for this part here, this is what we're going to do over here, but we're going to have to do it twice because we have 2 secants. So let's start at the top because it's the same as what we did for this part. We take the outside piece, which is A, and we multiply it by these 2 parts added up, A plus B. And that is equal to, and we do the same thing down at the bottom, the outside piece, which is C, and then these 2 pieces added together, C plus D, C plus D. All right, so I'm going to highlight this in blue, a nice light blue. All right, so we are going to do number 6 below because this shows that we have 2 secants. Okay, I'm going to do the work to the right of it right here. Okay, so I'll just start with the top one. It doesn't matter which part that you start with. All right, so I'm going to take the outside piece, which is 3. So the outside piece, 3 times these two added together. 3 plus 5 is 8. So 3 times 8 equals, now we do the same thing at the bottom. The outside piece, which is x, multiply that by these two added together. X plus 2x is 3x. So we're going to multiply that by 3x. So now 3 times 8 is 24 equals x times 3x is 3x squared. I'm going to want to know what x is, so I have to get x squared by itself, so I have to take that 3 and divide. 24 divided by 3 is 8 equals x squared, but I want to take the square root. Again, the square root of 8 is going to give us a decimal in our calculator, so x equals, so we want to figure out what goes into 8 that's a perfect square. 4 goes into 8. 2 times. The square root of 4 is 2. Bring down your root 2 equals x. That is your answer. All right, I want to point out number 8. When you look at these, like if you were looking at numbers 1 and 2, oh yeah, they look like the yellow box up here. But then if you go down to number 8, you think, oh, this might not look exactly like the yellow box. Turns out it is. It is exactly like the yellow box. These two chords just look a little bit different because this chord is a diameter and this one is perpendicular. But number 8 is really a yellow problem. All right, so I'm not going to do number 8, but I just wanted to point out to you that number 8, I'm going to draw an arrow, really is a problem that has just 2 chords. Okay, so I'm going to attach another worksheet for you to do for homework, and I would like you to finish 5, 7, and 8 as part of your homework as well. Number 9 is crossed off. For your homework, there are 6 problems. 2 of them are crossed off. So you have these 4 and these 3 to do for homework. So when you take a picture and submit, I need to see these 2 pages with these problems completed.